Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another episode of the Daily Bone Podcast, where we discuss all things crypto markets. That includes the majors like Bitcoin, Ethereum, Solana, meme coins, and of course, NFTs. Today, we're going to discuss this morning's crypto pump. We're going to talk about strategies non-buy of Bitcoin last week and some drama around Tom Lee and the price of Ethereum. Merry Christmas week to everybody. Thank you for tuning in with us. If you're at work, if you're at home on break, we appreciate each and every one of you. If you're listening over on X, give us a like, bookmark, tweet, retweet, push us out in the algorithm. If you're listening over on YouTube, drop a comment. Let us know what you want to talk about today. And if you're listening or watching over on Zora, give us some comments. Let us know you're out there. We're reading some comments from Zora each and every day of the show. I'm joined today by Signal and Easy. Signal, it's been a week since we've talked. How you feeling? How have you been? How was your weekend?
Yeah, it's been good, right? It's been really, really good. Getting ready for the Christmas season, doing all the Christmas shopping, last minute shopping, scrambling for ideas to what to get people. I have a humongous list. I have like about 15 people that I need to buy for. And every year when I think of an idea for these people, I just like quickly write it down. So I'm scrambling to do all that. Watch the Anthony Joshua fight and a Jake Paul fight. Did you watch that?
I didn't watch it personally. I was seeing like a lot of the talk on X like live as it was happening. So I wasn't watching, but I was kind of like following along live on Twitter. What about you? Did you watch it?
So I've met him at an event. Yeah, well, I didn't watch it, but I saw the clips and I've met him at an event. That guy is enormous. He's like, and I met him, just like walking at an event, being all cool. The guy's not flexing like a bear, in fight mode. He is huge. I mean, like, kudos to Jake Paul going up against him because that guy is lethal. I saw the punch that broke his jaw in two places. I mean, I'm not a fan of Jake Paul at all, but I'm going to give it to him because taking a punch, like going 6 rounds, then getting your jaw broken in two places, the man lasted. And even like Anthony Joshua was like, kudos to him because I told him what's going to happen and it happened, but it took 6 rounds. But yeah, that was brutal. So that was fun, watching the boxing, Christmas shopping, and just getting ready for the holidays, man. And Bitcoin, recovering as well. So we're all in a good mood.
This is such a classic picture of this punch. Him just absolutely destroyed.
No, my favorite is the one where it's just before this moment where the punch is coming and Jake Paul's like cowering in the corner, and then someone put a picture of him
Anthony
in a mouse, with like a glove, and I was like, yeah, man. And like the casual smile of Joshua, who just knows what he's about to do to him. Oh man, it's brutal. It's brutal because he knew what was going to happen to it. He knew that could only be the final result, but still to get in the ring and take that punch 6 rounds, got to give it to the man.
Yeah, I mean, he looked like an absolute beast. Taking that punch could not have felt good. I saw he had like double jaw surgery, like had some teeth removed, and like posted a picture from the hospital. Yeah, I mean that had to be tough. Easy, did you trade any of these markets?
I took Jake Paul over 2 rounds, so at least the second round, at least the third round, and at least the fourth round. So as soon as the bell starts for any of those rounds, they hit. My gut on it was simply that I was like, they're not going to have this end too early. They want the ad revenue, was like my big thesis. And I kind of was like, Jake Paul's going to run around for a while. Like, that was where I was like, I think this man is just going to hop around and try to stay alive as long as he can. And all 3 of those hit. So I didn't take anything too crazy. For me, it was like, I got 45 cents on over 4 rounds, 60 cents over 3 rounds, and 70 cents over 2 rounds. So I think I ended up netting like just under $2,000 on it, which was a nice hit. I was pretty happy about that without having to care who won. So like I watched that. And then I wanted to trade the Andrew Tate market as well. Andrew Tate and Chase DeMore. But I didn't know that it was in Dubai and was happening at 6 p.m. I thought it was happening like Eastern time at night. So all of a sudden I get on X and I see the fight had already happened and Andrew Tate lost. And I was like, well, good thing I didn't bet this because I would have taken Tate just because it was like he was such a heavy favorite. And everyone was like, oh, this guy's got it. He got his ass beat. Like, eye was all bloody. Face was banged up. He looked like shit in the ring. So I was pretty happy to miss that
87%, like consistently over
the whole time.
79% the entire time, and then just dropped off a cliff to zero.
Yeah, because it went to decision. There was like a slight split decision from one of the judges, but it was majority decision by the judges that Chase won. So he beat the shit out of him. Like Andrew Tate looked like garbage. A lot of people were like, Tate's fighting background should have him win this. Obviously, it didn't. So yeah, that was
videos of Demore like flopping around, like throwing punches like this. Like
yeah, that was like a lot of people saw the old video of Chase. He looked much better this fight. So you got to give credit where credit is due. He obviously has been practicing and trying. So good job to him. Like really well done. Really can't knock it.
I want to dive into some more of this prediction market stuff, but we're going to do the weather report here with Sig in a minute. Before we do, we're going to give a big shout out to our friends over at Gemini. Absolutely love this card. Did you know your credit card points and miles can lose value to inflation while they collect dust? Credit card companies can often reduce the redemption value of your points and miles. Now imagine a credit card with rewards that can grow in value over time. With the Gemini credit card, you can earn Bitcoin or one of over 50 other cryptocurrencies instantly with no annual fee. Every swipe at the store or gas pump earns you instant rewards deposited straight into your Gemini account. Plus, if you sign up now, you get a $50 Bitcoin bonus to kickstart your rewards. Bodoggers.com/Gemini to sign up. I've been using the hell out of this card. Love it. Absolutely love it. Cool to earn Bitcoin. DCAs for me. Love it. Bodoggers.com/Gemini to sign up. That being said, Sig, why don't you take it away with the weather report?
Absolutely, Ray. Let's get into it. On Monday, December 22nd, looking at that crypto roundup, the majors are rallying this morning with Bitcoin just under 90K, Ethereum back over 3K, Solana at $127, and Hype approaching $25. Over the past 24 hours, top three stories. Well, Tom Lee's Fundstrat calls for ETH to fall to $1,800 in its 2026 internal outlook. This comes as Bitmine acquired another 300 million ETH over the past week, bringing their holdings to over 3.3% of the total supply. Next up, Strat reported that no Bitcoin purchases over the past week after back-to-back weeks buying over 10,000 Bitcoin. They did, however, announce that they increased their USD reserve to 2.19 billion, adding almost 750 million on the week. And then finally, in the art department, the Museum of Modern Art acquired 8 punks and a complete set of 8 squiggles. The works were donated by several prominent entities in the space, including Lava Labs, Squiggle Down, and Cosmo de Medici. Punks are currently holding a floor of just over 80K. And that is all for the weather report. It is back to you folks in the studio. And you are muted, Ray. No one can hear what you are saying.
Excellent weather report as always, Sig. Punks landing in the Museum of Modern Art. All of this floors at 83K right now, down below 30 ETH. I went to go check how many sold after the announcement, and I think it's only like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Not even 10 punks sold since this announcement. So continuing to see like the lack of action on punks has been kind of surprising. If we do see an NFT season, I think these definitely snap back up in terms of floor price and volume, but it's kind of just a matter of do we see it. Easy, is there any price where you would target buying a punk again as a former punk owner?
Nope.
20K doesn't like interest you? Like there's not a level? Wow.
Nope.
Any level where you get interested in a punk, Sig?
Why is that easy?
I don't know. I had one. It was cool. It just didn't do it for me. I don't know. Like I was like, why? After a while, I held it for a while. Like all things considered, I think I held it for like 6-7 months. I was like, why am I holding this thing? Ended up selling it. I don't know. Like for me, and I mean, I sold it and actually got a tax loss on it, so I was like pretty happy about that. Sold it for more ETH but less USD, so I was like, nice, that's cool, that works. We'll take that one all day. And then obviously ETH had that rally, which was nice to see. We had a few other good trades happen over that time, and I was like much happier to be allocated where I was. And I was like, why do I want to tie up any amount of capital into pictures? Like, yeah, sure. Maybe if I hit a 7-figure trade, I'll grab a punk and forget about it for a long time. But I just don't have a reason to want to hold any sort of NFT asset. Punks would be the only one, maybe a squiggle, because I've always liked squiggles. But then it's the same thing. It's like, okay, I'm buying the art. I've never really been a big art guy, you know? Like, I don't know. There's just, it doesn't do it for me. And I've done it. Like, I've had a punk. It was cool. But I don't have a need. I don't have an interest in owning it again.
Gotcha. Yeah, I was thinking more from like a trader's perspective. I know you're not much of a collector, more of a trader. But yeah, I mean, it's tough to kind of visualize where NFTs can go and like when it's going to happen. So you're tying up capital for potentially a very, very long time with these.
Yeah, both of them. You're kind of just tucking them away and forgetting you own them, hoping that we see a resurgence in art. And I do think we could. Like, everyone always says it's like when the market heats up, that's where you get the opportunity for it. But there's, once again, just no major interest from me to be like, yeah, I want to own art. Like, if I wanted to own art, I'd probably just go buy something from an art gallery, you know? Like, I don't know. I like my Pokemon cards. I like my Yu-Gi-Oh cards. If I'm going to buy collectibles, that's probably what I'm going to buy.
Yeah, that makes perfect sense. Sig, what about you? Any interest?
Yeah, and I think like, no, I would like if they went down to stupid prices like 20K, yeah, I would pick one up. But actually, really more to Easy's point, I was at like I was at my friend's place when I went to New York, and they have a beautiful house and they have incredible art on their walls. And I was going around, I was like, wow, where is this from? Where is this from? You know, and just asking questions. And it was, you know, every piece had been thought about. They knew who the artist was. They were real collectors, and they, you know, the room, the way they displayed it, they had the interior designer do it. Like, and it was so, and there was absolutely no television in this room as well. So like, you're really, when you're in their living room, you're there to like chill, listen to music, look at the art, have conversation about it. And I think if I was going to spend 80K on a piece of art, it would really have to be now something that I absolutely love and adore and is in my house. There's a reason they're like, I love it from my heart. I think for me, just to collect it, for it to sit on my hard drive and not do anything for it except for the price to appreciate, it just like, it doesn't call me. It just feels a bit boring. So I would really have to love that piece and love my punk for me to spend that amount of money. And I would damn well print it off and have some kind of high definition version of it in my home on a wall where other people will ask me questions about it. That's kind of the stage I'm at if I'm going to be dropping 80K. I'm just not really interested in trading them anymore.
Yeah, I think that makes perfect sense. I do like the eventually the goal of like getting one of those nice like picture frame TVs where you can show off your NFT art. But yeah, I mean, punks are, I mean, getting near lows. Like, I mean, we saw them almost like it's, I think, 2x what Bitcoin was. Now they're trading, you know, just below Bitcoin. That's been an interesting battle to watch. Is it better to hold Bitcoin or a punk? I do think it flips back at some point, though. So it's just a matter of like when would a punk flip Bitcoin again, rather than if, in my opinion. But I still need them to come down to something a little bit cheaper to even be able to buy them. Speaking of ETH and Bitcoin, we saw a number of different interesting stories coming out of treasury companies and DATs. No buy from Michael Saylor after buying back-to-back weeks, 10K Bitcoin, almost $1 billion on these buys. Many were expecting him to make it a third large buy here. I think a bunch of prediction markets were out there for this, but no buy this week. They did increase their cash reserves by almost 750 million. So now they're holding almost 200 or almost 2 billion or a little over $2 billion. I think that might be like their priority. If you don't remember, they're basically raising cash capital to back their dividend products so that they can guarantee dividends for 1 to 2 years out. So that's what this cash capital is like going to back, to show that like investors that there is going to be like steady capital there and give them faith in those other products. And then selling those other products is essentially funding Bitcoin buys. So I think they have to like toe the line a bit on what they are doing. But seeing no buy for Bitcoin definitely raises some eyebrows here. Saylor kind of almost like forecasted this with his tweet yesterday, saying green dots beget orange dots, with the green dots being the additions to cash reserves. So maybe he's saying like basically the same thing. Hey, we need to be increasing cash reserves, and that's going to lead to more Bitcoin purchases over time. Are you concerned about the lack of a buy here, Sig? What are your thoughts on strategy and their current setup?
I'm not concerned with the lack of buying. I think preserving cash is the move right now. 2026 doesn't really, like, from where we are right now going into next year, it doesn't really feel like we should be just spending galore. I think they should be preserving cash given how the economy is moving, and just looking at the macro picture and the macro outlook and the goals that the administration is trying to hit, as well as in Europe, as well as what's happening in Japan. It feels like preserve your capital and wait for an opportunity next year. And I think the way that they're going with their derivative products, they're going to need an abundant amount of cash to be able to hold against their liabilities. So no concern here. I think we'll see more buys coming if Bitcoin goes to more attractive buys. But for now, I think when we're in this range, they're probably not going to do as much buying as they were earlier in the year.
I think that makes sense. It does make you a bit nervous though, is that they're stacking cash to like give faith to investors. Does that mean they're concerned about a Bitcoin drawdown and what that could entail to their other products being like some sort of spiral? So maybe the cash is a hedge against that. I'm like concerned, like, what do they know that we don't about 2026?
Well, their products are leveraged as well, right? So they're going to need to hold. They're going to need to hold more cash versus the leverage product. So that's why they're probably preserving and building a treasury of cash.
Yeah, for sure. And speaking of 2026 outlook, some bad news coming out of Fundstrat. So if you're familiar with Tom Lee, he's been a big proponent for Ethereum. He was early to Bitcoin. He is basically, I think, co-founder of Fundstrat or CEO of Fundstrat. I'm not sure exactly, but heavily tied with Fundstrat. And basically, they released an internal report saying that the base case for crypto is a drawdown, meaningful drawdown in the first half of next year, with Bitcoin falling 60 to 65K, ETH going down to 1,800, Sol going down to $50. These levels would present attractive opportunities into the year end. So this is coming from Tom Lee's company, his where he's now an advisor at Bitmine. They acquired another $300 million of ETH, and Tom Lee continues to go on the circuits calling for these huge ETH price targets, while his head of asset strategy is basically saying, hey, we're going to have a bear market in 2026. What do you make of this, Sig? Are you concerned at all here? Is this a bad look?
No, it's not a bad look. Like, these guys are always going to print something which is like headline calling that, ETH's going to go down to $50 to $75. I don't personally, I do think we're going to see a drawdown, but I don't think we're going to see it to those levels. And I feel like it sounds more like a bit of like scaremongering around crypto price action. If we do see 60 to 65K, I guess my question would be, what has caused us to go down that low? Because I don't think we're just going to go down there and just sort of crab walk down there slowly. I feel like there needs to be some kind of event that would bring us down to 60, 65K. And if that were to happen, I would end up buying more. I would just be buying more at these prices. We know that Solana at $50 and BTC at 60K is heavily undervalued. And any model will tell you that as well. This is not an area that would stay long term. And I would just be buying, and then waiting for strength to come back and then selling into that strength. So on the one hand, I see there's a bit of like price action scaremongering. And number two, if it did happen, I know what my strategy would be and where I'd be loading up on my portfolio.
Yeah, I tend to agree. I'm sitting in decent amount of cash. I'm basically only trading new opportunities, and I'm waiting for these dips on the majors because, like I've said before, I can't make heads or tails of where we are with the market, with it pulling up and back, etc. So I want to be positioned to take advantage of that if we do see a big dip in 2026. We have seen quite a bit of a run over the last 24 hours, though. Easy, even following the charts. Any levels you're looking at on this run to kind of hold to maybe break out of this kind of range we've been sitting in?
We need over 92K still.
Still over 92.
That's just been the one. We continue to reject. They continue to push off it. Until we can get that, it's very difficult for me to be like, yeah, this is good, this is bad, this is what we want to see. It's just chopping. Like in these markets, you just kind of chop yourself over and over and over and over.
Yep. We're basically in the middle of this range here between 84 and 93 that we've been sitting in since November 18th. So over a month of just chop in this range. We're in the middle. Are we going to break up or down is the question. If we break up, can we break through resistance? I was kind of zooming out and looking like at kind of how we've handled these downtrends before. I mean, looking on the monthly, like we're on our potentially third red month in a row. Like this doesn't happen very often for Bitcoin. 3 consecutive red candles. Last time this happened was in 2022 and 2021, basically off of the all-time highs and then into the collapse of FTX. So we had this happen 3 times last cycle. Haven't seen the 3 candles in a row until now. So is this the beginning of the end potentially? Can we recover and close green for December? I know right now we're having one of the worst Q4s on record for Bitcoin, probably another source of frustration on CT. I've got a little graphic here showing Bitcoin quarter by quarter that I'm going to pull up for anyone watching on YouTube. But basically, as of this weekend, we were down 22% for Bitcoin on the quarter. The only other time we've performed worse for that in Q4 was in 2018. Signal, how are you feeling on the majors right now? I know we talked about it a little bit, but do you think we break this trend? We see a green Q1?
Oh, slaps you in the face when you look at that picture. It's like, ouch! I didn't realize that like it's been since 2018. That was the last worst quarter. Well, I guess we can only go up, can't we now? It doesn't really bother me at all. This price action. I imagine it's not going to get sexy probably until later on in the year as we go towards, and I'm talking more towards the midterms, or really talking more towards Q3. If we carry on just crab walking into January, February, the market will do what it did in the last bear, where I think attention will go to other things as Bitcoin just kind of does nothing, ETH kind of does nothing. The market will find alternatives. Attention will go there, be that prediction markets, be that something else. It's kind of why meme coins got their first big attention, was when we went into the previous bear market and people were looking for things to do. So what actually I'm really curious to see is what will take attention next year, because we still continue to see this kind of like resistance from a lot of people not wanting to go into prediction markets and just sort of like refusing to say like, okay, that's where that's going to be the year of 2026. And if that continues, I could easily see something else trying to replace it. We know it's not going to be NFTs, so I think it's going to be something new. And I don't think it's going to be meme coins either. So I'm going to be on the lookout for what that is. But in terms of the majors, I think just carry on DCAing into your long-term strategy of whatever major you like to hold in your portfolio. Reserve cash, preserve it for new opportunities, new potential ICOs that could be interesting in 2026. Teams are still building, teams are still releasing products. I'd be on the lookout for what they're doing as well. And just staying in the trenches, figuring out what's happening every single day, still looking for opportunities. It seems to be like a lot of doom and gloom on Twitter at the moment. And I think you also have to like preserve your attention. These periods can be extremely long. They can go on for 12, 18 months, 24 months. And I think if you're just on X all the time, just taking in doom scrolling news, it can become very fatiguing. So I would also say like preserve your attention and put it in positive places rather than just like, oh, Bitcoin's down again, my portfolio's down again. Like look for new things to do.
Yeah, I think I agree. Less trading is almost better right now. I am concerned with some narratives in 2026. We'll talk about them a little bit later that could affect things. I'm curious, Easy, moving over to the prediction market side, anything you're looking at early this week? Anything that just kind of jumped out at you that you're trading? Any mention markets or any earnings calls? What do you got for us?
I was hoping we'd get the Trump market today. We didn't. That was kind of my hope. Like there was a mention market for his announcement. I am on 2 positions right now. Powerball jackpot to hit 2 billion by December 31st. That one sounds kind of wild.
I'd love to hear the thesis here.
Yeah, so there's a drawing tonight. If there's no winner, it'll be over 2 bill by December. By Christmas Day, December 25th. By December 25th.
Theoretically, could one person win that jackpot?
Yeah, they do. Yeah, it's normally one person. Well, sometimes they split if 2 people hit the number. But
wow.
Yeah, and then you lose 30% of it. And then some people will take the lump sum, or some people will take like a monthly payout. But yeah, I'm on this right now. Obviously, we saw it rally to 50. People then sold some because you could get in pretty low. But yeah, I like this market personally.
How often do people hit these large jackpots is the question.
Yeah, that's a tough part.
Because more people play, the higher it is. So the odds of it getting hit increase the more people that play.
Yes, correct. Yeah, I don't know. That's why for me, I was like, feels pretty good. Like, we'll let it fly, see what happens.
Nice. Anything else, Ron?
The Marty Supreme opening weekend. I have bids on this one. I have it over 11.5 mil at, hopefully I can get filled at 87 cents. So I like that too. There's an Avatar Fire and Ash movie that came out, the newest Avatar. It's long. So a lot of people are like, I don't know if it's going to go crazy, but I mean, it's already done 88 mil in box office numbers. We're kind of waiting for this last number to come out. And right now, I mean, I like the yes on under 90 mil at 73 cents personally. I don't think we end up seeing a beat on this. So probably going to take a position on this.
Interesting. So these are just waiting on numbers. This has already occurred.
Yep. Yeah, there's forecasted numbers. They usually don't hit over those. Sometimes there's an adjustment. Right now it's at 88 mil. They're waiting for the final number to come out, which would be Sunday's number. I'm taking the under 90 mil. I was on over 90 mil. And after they added preliminary data from Thursday, I exited like 50% of my position to ride it for free. Got a small profit on it. Yeah, I don't know. There's like stuff, but I'm just enjoying stuff on here. Like, I want to just find markets that I can do more research on and find edges. Like, that's kind of the thing that I've been trading. And I have some positions that I'm kind of just waiting to see what'll happen with them. Feels decent as far as like finding odds that should be off. Like the Powerball odds should be trading at 50 cents. It's basically a coin flip going into tonight's reading. And that's right now, sells are at 53, but bids are only at 5. So you could probably get filled to closer to like 25, 30. Which is like a great risk return in my opinion. You don't need to take a huge position, but I like those odds. And I actually don't hate the Fire and Ash odds for under 90 mil at 73 cents. So there's certain traders I look forward to on it. Like this guy AE News is really good. A lot of people like with big P&Ls are on the under 90 mil. So I kind of like just tailing them on some of this stuff. Like I said, though, it's always tough to say what'll happen here. But I'd rather take a couple swings here going into the end of the year, see if we can keep chipping away.
Love that one. A little bit of prediction market alpha out of easy. Have you gotten into prediction market yet, Signal? Have you jumped in? Are you waiting for something, or are you just kind of like fading for now?
No, I'm not fading. It's just I like to put capital down when I feel like I know something. Right. So Easy said that Nick would get 7. And then you said to me, right, I don't think it's going to happen. But I took the bet and I don't mind because I was like, it's Nick. I know him. You know, it's funny.
That
Can he do it?
It pissed me off so bad because his first swing they counted and he missed the ball. So because it was a strike at the ball, if we did not count that first whiff he had, it would have been under. And he still came down to the final putt, which he hit the cup and he hit it too hard. Like, that was a fun market. It was like really fun to be a part of it.
And that's what I mean. I like stuff where I feel like it's fun. I did earlier in the year, I was doing the rates, like what the Federal Reserve, what they're going to cut and where it was going to land. And I got it completely wrong. And I was like, well, at the end of the day, is this really my edge? I did a ton of research around it. I looked at all the historical speeches that had been given, and I still got it wrong. And it's fine to get stuff wrong. But I was like, this isn't fun. This was just kind of like me throwing the dice and seeing where it lands. So if I'm going to go into markets, I want them to be fun and areas where I think, oh, you know what? I might have a bit of an edge there. Like Easy knows Nick. He knows how he golfs. Like he could have got 7, but on the day it just happened that he didn't. Okay, fine, no problem there. But I like markets where, for me, I feel like it's fun. So I would bet on Wimbledon because I know a lot about tennis, and I would bet on Roland Garros, but you're not going to see me do the NFL. I have absolutely no edge on the NFL. I would do celebrity stuff as well. I would do Netflix stuff. So for me, it's much more around culture and sports that I know, rather than like, is the Federal Reserve going to cut by 50 basis points in January? Doesn't really knock my socks off.
Speaking of the NFL, some alpha from Tristan in the comments. He says Steelers are basically guaranteed to win the division now, which gives them home field advantage in their first playoff game. Super Bowl odds at 4%. Once playoff field is set, I think that you can 2x to 8% without them even winning a playoff game. Not financial advice. So interesting alpha there from Tristan, predicting that once Pittsburgh gets in, locks up the division, which looks like a likelihood, and gets an opponent scheduled against them, that they would potentially jump in odds here from 4% up. Looking at the order book for Pittsburgh, you can buy a 3.6% chance right now. So could be an interesting one. They got Aaron Rodgers. He's pretty old over there now. So we'll see what happens, but some alpha coming from the crowd potentially. I actually had a dinner on Thursday night with a bunch of my guy friends, and I was showing them Polymarket, and took the Seahawks-Rams game. I took the Seahawks. They won in overtime. So had some fun with that prediction that I made, obviously, using all the alpha and knowledge in my brain to predict correctly and not gamble, of course. Yeah, so it's some alpha here from Easy from the crowd. Love to check out what's going on with the prediction markets. Now I want to move over to something a little bit more serious, though. Nick Carter released an article over the weekend on the quantum threat to Bitcoin. Brief summary on this article. He does break it down pretty well in layman's terms, so you don't need technical ability to read this, unlike his last article on quantum like threats to cryptography. So basically what he's saying now is like Bitcoin developers and the Bitcoin community really needs to start going and finding solutions now and acting like with haste, because he's saying like, it could be 5 to 10 years away, but that like window could come faster. And it's also going to take a large amount of time to implement, agree upon, and activate the changes needed to protect Bitcoin in case there is a quantum threat. He addresses a lot of the counterpoints that people kind of say is like, okay, well, if quantum computers break Bitcoin, everything else is in trouble. And the fact is that what makes Bitcoin uniquely positioned as like being in trouble is that they're not centralized. A bank that has cryptography, they can very easily shift to quantum resistant technology, which exists. Since they're centralized, they can very quickly move to this. Whereas Bitcoin, it takes longer. And there's also other effects with Bitcoin that like are going to cause like potential like theological like problems like in the belief system of Bitcoin, because right now there are wallets that are attached to Satoshi holding tons of Bitcoin that if the current solutions for quantum resistance are, pushed forward, it's an opt-in system. So someone would have to take those keys or have control of those keys to opt into the quantum resistant fork. So now there's like a question, well, do you leave those Bitcoin on the ground for someone to pick up as like a bounty essentially for whoever develops the first quantum computer? Or do you quote unquote steal Satoshi's Bitcoin to prevent that from going into circulation? So there's definitely a lot to unpack in this article regarding Bitcoin and quantum. It's pretty long, but it's not technical, so it's not a very hard read. But I really suggest you take a look at this. You can follow Nick Carter at NIC_Carter, one of the bigger voices in the Bitcoin space. So This one really drew my attention. Sig, have you been following quantum at all? Do you have any concerns, or like what are your thoughts here?
Wow, there's a lot to unpack here on this. I mean, so I guess this will be one of those articles that we look back and we were like, hey, this guy was right. And he was completely ahead of his time, because even himself, Nick, is saying that we are 5 to 10 years out or longer. Obviously, if quantum computing did exist and it had cracked the code, the world would know, because once an entity has that power and decides to use it, it will become very clear that cryptography has been broken. So you know, we still have time. The theological elements of this and introducing essentially what you're talking about being a bounty of Satoshi's Satoshi's bitcoins and being able to take that is very, very interesting. Yeah, it would completely break the system, and I mean, you've just shown this now, and there's so many possibilities. I can't even unpack how this would unravel, but it definitely puts so many things at risk. It's not just our Bitcoin; it's all crypto and more out there in the world. So it unravels a lot of things, and I suppose in one way, the good thing about having this information now is that, one, I'm definitely interested in reading this. Two, it kind of makes you start to think, well, if we are going to move into this world within the next 5 to 10 years, how does one protect their wealth and anything that is subject to quantum computing and cryptography been broken? And if our wealth is preserved in an asset, in an asset that can be attacked, how would we preserve it? I do not have the answers to that, but I do definitely think it's worth reading this article. I'm definitely going to read this article, just so I have this information, because we know that it's going to be a topic that comes up more and more and more, and we're probably going to crab walk our way there in the same way that we're doing with AI. Artificial intelligence has been spoken about for decades, but now it's sort of becoming, okay, this is how it's being used in our jobs, in our lives. How can we know more about it so we can hedge ourselves or become creators and use the technology better? And I think with quantum computing, we're kind of doing the same. The more information you have, the better positioned you are to be able to do something about it when that time comes.
Yeah, I'm definitely concerned, and I definitely think it can affect price. I do think that there's enough financial incentive and institutional interest in Bitcoin to really kickstart motion into this. So I have faith that something's going to happen, but there definitely are like threat vectors here that I'm concerned about, especially if things continue to like not progress or things are like contentious. Or you're seeing more people just basically put their head in the sand and say, well, you know, it's gonna get solved. You know, someone's gonna solve this. So I would like to see like more information about like people moving towards it. Because when Nick Carter is screaming from the rooftops that people aren't doing things, with how plugged he is into Bitcoin, it makes me concerned a little bit. There's almost as much about like who wrote this article as what the contents are for me. Because if you remember Nick Carter, he basically outed Choke Point 2.0, and was behind, you know, basically researching that and coming to that finding early and basically publishing it. So gives me cause for concern, but hopefully this wakes up enough people where it's going to be solved, be my hope. And maybe they can find some creative solutions for Satoshi's coins as well in the process.
Well, the Bitcoin community probably has the strongest financial incentive out of any other crypto community out there, but that doesn't necessarily mean the solution will come from that community. I think when we have an attack vector that affects multiple communities, is actually the best thing that can happen, because it forces all communities to come together, and you have the most intelligent people coming together to find a solution to essentially protect ourselves against this. So Nick saying this to everyone is sort of a call to all developers and the people who have the brainpower to solve this kind of thing across all industries, to find, you know, how do you protect your financial interests against very, very meaningful attack vectors. So I don't have the answer, Ray. I'm sorry. This is like such a, it's such a, a Pandora's box. It's such a Pandora's box that once you open it and you sort of think through what the implications are, you just run to bars of gold, I guess, and start putting them under your bed once you realize the implications towards anyone's individual or communal wealth.
Yeah, I could see gold. I mean, if there's an issue with Bitcoin, gold is going to be absolutely pumping. I mean, and it has been pumping, which is concerning as well. You mentioned some other
but it's been wait, just right. It has been pumping because you saw the news around Tether, and Tether just buying astronomical amounts of gold this past few months. That's why the gold price has been going up.
Yeah, I mean, even before that, though, I mean, we hit all-time highs multiple times across this this cycle, and we've just been absolutely pumping all of 2026. Like this is a parabolic chart if I've ever seen one. This is the yearly on gold, and this year is one of the largest candles of all time. It is the largest candle of all time.
Wow, what a beautiful chart.
Yeah.
I never know 4 years ago, I never really appreciated charts. Now I'm like, you know what? I get it now. That is it's art. That is art. That's a piece of art right there. So yeah, we're going to be basically back to physical gold and trying to carry it around with us if we're going to have a quantum computing attack.
Yeah, definitely something to be worried about. And hopefully we see some sort of movement on this, like going forward. In the article, he does mention, you did mention other people working towards the problem. Ethereum and Solana are both working actively. Vitalik is like publicly recognized it's an issue and is pushing towards it. Ethereum doesn't have some of the same risks as Bitcoin, neither does Solana, where they'd be like an opt-in in a way that so like you can be automatically opted in. So like lost coins are less of a deal on Ethereum and Solana. Solana's already started with post-quantum signatures as well. So Solana and Ethereum Solana is a lot more centralized than Bitcoin, Ethereum a bit as well. So it's easier to get kind of things across the line. And then Ethereum kind of has the foundation guiding it. Solana has their foundation guiding it. Bitcoin is more like decentralized. So it's about validators and stakeholders in Bitcoin agreeing on the solution. So other blockchains have it a bit easier to get quantum resistance than Bitcoin. So it's a unique problem there. I want to jump back into the precious metals because we've seen like everything pumping now. Like silver is on a crazy run, which had started in the last few weeks, running from $50 now almost to $70 since October, end of October. We hit lows of $46 in November, so big pump for silver. Platinum, I also saw, was hitting multi-year highs. Basically highs since its previous peak in 2007. We are seeing more people run to precious metals as Bitcoin kind of chops. Easy, are you in any of the metal trades? Do you see this as a warning sign potentially for crypto?
Not a warning sign. I think it's actually good for like risk on assets. It's showing that people are moving away from believing in the value of the dollar, which has always been the thesis, and moving towards the metals. Like platinum's also running extremely hard. Gold, new all-time high. Silver, absolutely ascending. I'd be curious in stuff like uranium. Platinum's the main one that a lot of people have been talking about too. Yeah, uranium's almost all-time high. So like stuff like that, commodities in general seem to be ramping here, and those tend to run while the dollar gets devalued.
Dollar at 98 after rejecting off 100 again.
Yeah, feels good. I mean, I want to see it get down to like 94.
94. You think things really start to ascend at 94? I mean, this would be levels we haven't seen since before the all-time high, or like right around all-time high last cycle in 2021 for Bitcoin. So that when we were at 94 on the DXY, that was when Bitcoin and Ethereum were hitting all-time highs in the fall of 2021. Sitting at 98 right now, could get there. We've been range trading between 96 and 100 for a couple months now. Interesting. Any other charts you've had your eye on? Anything you're adding on the crypto side, Easy?
Hype's becoming more interesting here. Everyone's kind of grave dancing on it. We should see the lighter airdrop happen this year, which I think the more we see those, the more we could potentially see for the DEX ecosystems continue to run. That's been one I continue to watch. Obviously, I always watch Chainlink, Athena, those alts. But alts just feel so oversold. So I'm like, I want exposure to some of this stuff.
For you mentioned the lighter airdrop. Is the thesis like lighter airdrop comes out, people rotate back to using Hyperliquid because they were only using lighter for
the airdrop? Yeah,
the airdrop, or do you think that you don't think there's much retention there?
I just think people are going to move on as they always do. It's looking like we're going to see it probably December 29th is what's being priced in. And people are even valuing it pretty high. Like one day after launch, there's a 56% chance it's trading over $3 billion. So that's pretty good. 30% chance over $4 billion, which would be higher than Monads one day after launch.
Yeah, it's pretty nuts. Almost guaranteed over $2 billion, they're saying.
Yep.
I kind of like the no over $4 billion.
Yeah, I like the no, but I like the other 3 yeses.
A little hedge action potentially. Interesting. I'll have to take a look at this one. I'll make a note on this. Yeah, I'm gonna take a look at fees and see how well Lighter doesn't have fees and revenue.
No fees right now.
So what we look at, like volume, DEX volume, perp volume by protocol, and Lighter right now, second in 24-hour perp volume. EdgeX is now flipped Hyperliquid in daily perp volume. Astra the leader, just under $5 billion. Hyperliquid at 2.4, Lighter at 3.8. Over the 30-day, a little bit closer. Over the 7-day, all of Lighter, Hyperliquid, and Astra are over in the $40 to $44 billion range for volume. So Hyperliquid is still continuing to get volume. The question we're basically asking is how much of this Lighter piece of the pie rotates back into Hyperliquid, or does it go into like the next?
What dashboard is this?
This is DeFiLlama.com/perps.
Oh, perps. I was on Dexes. There we go.
Yeah. So the question is, like, does the Lighter capital roll back into Hyperliquid? Are these people who just trade perps and are doing it in the most efficient place? Or is there like, does it go into EdgeX? Does EdgeX have, I don't know much about EdgeX. Like, are they having an airdrop?
Yeah, they are.
Yeah. So like the question is like, is this capital just mercenary capital on perps that's going to wherever the best ROI is? And if that includes a token airdrop, that's where they're going. So like, that's my concern about that flowing back to Hype. So we'll see. It's almost like, do we continue to see Astra at 1, whoever has the best incentive program at 2/3, and then Hyperliquid behind them? Would be like the counterpoint. I'm still holding a lot of Hype. I have faith that the platform is good. They have good buyback structure. They have good community, but they need to continue to have TVL revenue to compete. And we've done
out of those 4, which one do you think has the best product? Like without an airdrop, which one do you think has the best product?
Hyperliquid.
Yeah.
Well, there you go. If you guys think it, then probably 99% of people who are trading perps also think it. So I think from like a long-term perspective, I think your theory is right, Ray. Is mercenary capital just farming for airdrops? Don't forget, there's not that much going on at the moment. There's not a huge amount, but perps is still getting strong attention. So I think your theory is right, and then eventually that price action will come back to Hyperliquid.
I hope so. I mean, looking at this chart, you can see TVL, Hype price, and perp volume all on a downtrend. Another concern outside of just like where the money that's in the perp on-chain ecosystem right now, like is going, like that. Yeah, it could go anywhere, but outside capital, is it going to come in when there's options like Coinbase now, Robinhood? Like, how does this expand to Hyperliquid? Like, how do they acquire new users when there are easier ways to make these trades with less friction is the question. And that's one that I think we're going to have to answer to see Hype hit all-time highs again. Let's see what else we have today. I'm going to run through some quick hitters before we wrap. These are sent out each and every day at dailybones.com. You can sign up now for our daily newsletter. Monday through Friday, you get the update from the previous day. everything that's going on in the crypto market over the last 24 hours. And every weekend, you'll get a weekend update with the top stories from the week, all summarized in one easy place, dailybones.com to sign up. News from the Daily Bones. We saw Japan's 2-year bond yields rise to levels not seen since the 2008 financial crisis. BlackRock's IBIT ETF was the only ETF on the Flow leaderboard with a negative yearly return. We talked about quantum computing and Bitcoin's bad Q4. We also have U.S. lawmakers drawing up legislation to exempt small crypto payments from capital gains tax. Coinbase teamed up with ZachXBT to take down an impersonation scammer in the United States. VanEck filed for an Avalanche ETF. I believe this is the second ETF AVAX has out there filed. Grayscale predicted that tokenized equities and bonds will grow 1,000x by 2030. Ghana had some legislation passed that legalizes the widespread use of crypto in the country. Astra begins phase 5 of its buyback plan. And Hong Kong proposed a rule to bring insurance capital to crypto markets. That's it for the roundup. Anything else you guys want to discuss before we get out of here today?
Nothing from me.
All right. Well, it's been a fun show this Monday. Lots of
one thing I do.
Go ahead. I don't know if it's me cutting in or out or Sig.
Sorry, my internet connection has just got the rats. Yeah, I've got rats. I've got rats in the house just like eating at the wires and just cutting me through. No, I was just going to say, I think it's really interesting that we're seeing huge entities take positions in crypto countries saying like widespread adoption, MoMA, you got squiggles, you got punks, like everything we could have wished for 4 years ago is happening now. And the price action is quite muted, but I still don't think long-term it's going to stay like that. So I know like day to day can still feel quite difficult, that we're crab walking, that we don't know which direction the market's going to go. You don't know where to put your capital, but I just say like, stay patient, preserve your capital and just wait for the opportunity and just stay in the action. Just know what's happening. But at the same time, preserve your mental health and your attention. Just don't like doom scroll all day looking at prices being in red, because something will come. It always does. It always does. Even if it's quantum computing coming from your coins, something's still going to happen.
I agree. I think there's going to be also quantum assets that you're going to be able to buy. People with quantum resistant blockchains. I think there's going to be interesting advancements in that area as well. Well said, well put. And I think I agree with everything you say there. And I've been basically following that same mantra: just protect capital, take shots at new things, don't get chopped up by the market. And hopefully you guys are all staying safe out there. And thanks again for listening. It's been a wonderful Monday here on the Daily Bone. We're going to have a shorter week. We won't be doing a show on Christmas. But wanted to say a happy early Christmas to everybody. You can catch us on all major podcasting platforms, Spotify, Apple. Watch us on major streaming platforms.